What is up, Honey Badger Nation? Man, this is John Kitchens, and I am super honored to be able to hang with you guys today. You get just me, and you know, sometimes things happen, and we have to call audibles last minute. But you know, we had Mr. Ron Tager scheduled to be on with us this week, and you know, circumstances wouldn't allow. So, of course, as always, we know how to adapt, and we know how to pivot in a hurry and make those adjustments on the fly. So, you know, I was just kind of thinking back, talking with the team, you know, what are we going to do with, you know, with something new, you know, popping in this week. We got to make an adjustment. I said, you know, let's share the presentation from Build 21 conference that I had the honor to present from stage. You know, if you guys, you know, were able to attend, you know how powerful that event was for a lot of you guys that were not able to make it to Dallas and attend, you know, the Build, conference. Brent Gove and James were able to put on for just over 6,000 agents that were there. That included some of the best. I know the Honey Badger Nation represented really, really well. But also, you know, the main man himself, Tony Robbins, was the headline on day 3. So being able to be a part of that experience was an absolute honor. And like I said, Honey Badger Nation represented really well. And they did some pretty cool stuff. You know, it was a 3-day event. Day 1 in the afternoon was on, you know, agent attraction focused. And then day 2 had two different sessions. The morning session was all about productivity. Production. And then the afternoon session was back again on agent attraction. I had the honor to speak during the morning session on day 2 on production. And we dove into right things, right order. And that's what today's presentation that I want to share with you guys in the Honey Badger Nation with Expert Mentors Live is all about right things, right order to build the foundation for whatever it is that you want to build, right? It doesn't matter if, you know, you're building, you know, a real estate business empire that does 1,000 units every year, or if you want to build an empire of an organization of agent attraction, you still have foundational principles at play. And I mean, shoot, if you got a wild hair, you want to build a lemonade stand, you still got to go through this process as well. So it's principle driven. It's about right things, right order. And I just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. The spot was available, and I was like, man, you know what? Let's get this live. Let's get it recorded. Let's get it out, and that way we have this piece to be able to leverage for all of our honey badgers when they're kind of looking at their planning. You know, as we're doing this live right now, we're wrapping up the third quarter. We've got 30-day stretch here into Q3, and then we're really starting to prep for Q4, which means we're talking about Q1 for 22, and we're really thinking about 22 and beyond. So I hope this framework that I'm going to share with you guys today, you know, get you thinking about, you know, where you're at, where the constraint is, what you need to focus on, what you need more attention, and then you know, be able to go from there. And if you have any other questions or anything, you can throw it into the comments. I know when I share my screen here in just a second and take you guys through the slide deck and through the presentation, that I'm not going to be able to see it. So at the end, we'll open it up. If there's any questions, we'll dive in. But I just wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to capture this content for those of you that weren't able to make it to Dallas, or if you were, you know, we got a lot of love, a ton of feedback. So being able to have this to go back and reference again and again, I think will be extremely helpful. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to hit present. So hopefully you guys are able to see this full presentation, full slide deck. But like I said, John Kitchens, and this is definitely going to dive into right things, right order. And that's the thing, right? I really believe there's a code and a sequence to unlock anything in our life, right? It doesn't matter which equity. Could be, family, it could be, our fitness, could be our financials, could be our faith. It doesn't matter, right? Right things, right order. There's a sequence, there's a code, there's a combination. And when you get the right combination, it unlocks everything for us. And so I really want you guys to take these key code sequence and understand that, if you're not getting the results for your business, that there's something that is not getting the emphasis, or there's something that's out of whack, that's not allowing the process to fully unlock to its potential. So that's really my goal for you guys. And then, man, I have this in every dang presentation. I just think it's funny. So hopefully give you guys some confidence to walk into any situation, or walk into the rest of this quarter, walk into the next quarter, walk into the next year with absolute confidence and this Connor and not that Connor, right? We don't want to be running on a broken wheel trying to accomplish the big things that we have within our business. So man, a lot of you, we've got a ton of new honey badgers. I think we're growing 400 or 500 a month over month. So the group is growing. The group is growing fast. We're well over 8,000 in the Honey Badger Nation. And so we just haven't had an opportunity to connect with everybody. And, I try to make sure, putting out tons of value, tons of content every week. We come to you live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So there's constant value add, but, back to, the beginning of things is that, man, I'm just a coach's kid. And, growing up with the dad, my dad was in the public school system for over 40 years. So he had, taught and coached a ton of young men and women. And it's just kind of cool now, he's at the age, retired from the public school system, and still seeing all the athletes and everything that he had an impact on over the years, still reach out to him, and, even reach out to me, and how much, he had an impact on, the direction of their life, but even more importantly, the human being that they became. And so it's just cool, growing up around it. I think it was just kind of ingrained in me, really poured into kind of who I am, and at my core, being able to see that, growing up in the locker rooms, and, early morning on the buses, early morning, at least Pops would swing by and grab me some donuts and chocolate milk, but, early morning to the gym, and, just spending a lot of time, with him, just really just observing, how a coach can dramatically, impact our lives in the course and the direction of, how we move into the future and the human being that we become. So just real quick, a lot of know the story. Cameron University dropout, Michael Reese and I, lived together going to Cameron. Kinder was there. I didn't know Kinder at the time, but we were all at the same place at the same time, and all dropped out about the same time. I moved to California. Mikey moved back down to Texas. And, for me, my college was out there at a semi-private golf resort in Hollister, California. And, I just had one of those amazing bosses that took me under her wing, and not only taught me, how to run a golf shop, but how to, understand the importance of all the facets that come to running a larger organization, and spending time in food and beverage, spending time, over in lodging, spending time with the GM, just learning all the different dynamics. And, I think one thing, learning multiple dynamics from, in the golf space, because we were semi-private. So had to deal with members and public on a day in and day out basis. So two different personalities, two different dynamics, two different, viewpoints of, coming into a situation. So it was fantastic. But just like anything, man, got sucked back home with a couple high school buddies that went to work with, and man, they were just serial entrepreneurs. So understanding the business facet, and then being able to be around entrepreneurs who take ideas and turn it into something and get it profitable and to a point to sell it. So we worked through a couple different ideas from, new construction, restaurant builds to sign and neon fabrication and, lawn and landscape dynamics. And then, the last was a waste management company that we ended up selling off. And, idle time, man, idle time kills, will kill you. And so trying to figure out what we wanted to do, we thought it was going to be a good idea to start this bar. And man, that's not a good idea. If any of you guys are thinking about getting into the bar business, let's have a conversation before you do that. And that was 2004. And that was also the year I was introduced to Jay Kinder because I was making a move, and Michael made the connection. Jay and I, connected in October of 2004, and man, the last 17 years have been a ride. Being able to be a part of, two different real estate entities, businesses, both 7-figure plus, and being able to be a part of over 4,300 total transactions. I'm in my 10th year of a one-on-one coaching capacity. I've had the opportunity to work with 500 plus real estate rock stars. We track the number of one-on-one sessions, a little over 12,000, almost to 13,000 one-on-one coaching sessions, and had the opportunity to speak to tens of thousands of agents, opportunity to work with some absolute rock stars. You probably recognize some names and some images, and so many others. So the biggest thing, all of that, whatever, just to give you a little context of who I am, but really for me, this is my, kind of how I operate. And when you unpack the why, philosophy, understand the why statement, it really comes down to what are you the best in the world at, so that you can do something that gives you the most fulfillment. So I'm really good at inspiring and challenging people to think bigger, so that the fulfillment for me is the transformation of human beings that I get the opportunity to work with to help transform their business and transform their lives. And, the simplest, the way I like to put it is that I can 3X your business, but I can also make you and your team better human beings. And that's what gets me out of bed every morning. And, doing that through inspiration and challenging you guys and challenging everyone to think bigger, right? If we want if you want your present situation, if you're not satisfied, if you're not happy, if you're not thrilled, if you're not like hell yeah about your current situation, there's a good correlation that your future is not big enough. And so that's what, I wake up every morning to challenge not only myself, but to challenge all of you that we've got to think bigger. So here's what I want to dive through with all of you through these four key components, right? Remember, right things, right order. There's nothing new here that I'm going to share with you guys, but sometimes we get the sequence out of whack. So we're going to dive into vision. We're going to dive into model. We're going to dive into strategy. And then most importantly, we are going to talk about people. After this, I'm going to give you guys a little shameless bribe for all of you tuning into this. If you're not connected, I'm going to challenge you all to connect in a certain way. And then obviously, like I said, if you have any questions, throw it into the comments and we will be certain to give some clarity on that. Now, first piece is vision, right? And it's not what the vision is really about, but it's what the vision does. And the vision aligns us and gives us, here's the most important, it gives us a decision-making filter to bounce. Is that going to move me closer or is that going to move me further away scenarios? And if we don't know where we're going, we can say yes to some of the dumbest things. And, we get down this path and you're like, man, this sucks. This is not what I want to do. And because we didn't have a good filter in place to make a good decision on, is this idea, is this tool, is this hire, is this technology, is this decision going to move us closer to where we want to be, or is it going to move us further away? So there's three components of vision. One is core values. And this is where it all starts. It has to start with your values. If you are not making decisions in alignment to your values, you're not going to stay with it. It's not going to be sustainable because your core values dictate how we behave. How do you behave, right? Behavior drives results. If you're not getting the results, it's because you're behaving a certain way. And most of the time we're not willing to do something because it's not in alignment to who we are, right? So these are our 6 core foundational core values that we've had, over the last decade plus, that we've had as many as 11, 7, I think we've got about 9 right now, but these are the 6 core. And I want to share these with you because I think when you see these 6 core, then you start to like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense who these guys are, right? And it's just what we embody. And it's like what we like to say, we're willing to fight you over these. And we utilize our values to hire, fire, train, promote, praise, hold accountable, make decisions, all off of our values. And number 1 is growth mindset. We have to be learning like we're going to live forever, right? Where is the solution, right? That's a constraint. How are we growing through this? And how are we working through that? How are we growing from that decision, that experience, that result? What's that feedback? So growth mindset. Another is add value, make a difference. So we would always use this filter, and somebody made a decision and maybe the outcome wasn't what we had expected or hoped for. And, maybe somebody's getting a little hard on themselves and we're like, did you make the decision to add value and make a difference? They're like, yeah, I really thought this was going to help, add value to the situation. We're like, well, then you made the right decision. Maybe we didn't get the outcome we wanted or that we had anticipated, but we came from the intent of adding value and trying to make a difference. Next is 100-0. This is accountability. This is the highest form of love. 100-0, extreme ownership. There's a great book called 100-0. There's also an incredible book by Jocko, Extreme Ownership. And it's in every situation, it's 100% accountability, 0 excuses. You have to take the excuses off the table. And for us as leaders, when we start hearing those excuses, we have to stop it immediately. We have to do that even with ourselves, right? That's another part of the code that I believe is that you can't coach and lead another human being until you can coach and lead yourself. And you have to embody and live to these values, and you have to own it. 100-0. We're all human beings. We're all going to do dumb shit. We're going to mess stuff up. But do you own it? Or do you push blame? Right? Do you have your accountability glasses on, or do you have your victim glasses on? 100-0 accountability. Open and real. Open and real is just really, are we candid? Are we candid in our conversations? Right? Open and real can be used as a weapon, but if you use it in a way to declare and knowing the intent and where you're coming from, you can be really candid in your conversations. You don't have to hold back because you can do it in a safe way. Where it's a weapon is like, man, you're a real jackass. And they're going to say, what? You're going to say, yeah, I'm just being open and real. That's not open and real. That's being a jackass. So you want to make sure you're using it in the right way, using it to be candid, to be to the point, to be open, because you're doing it in a way that's adding value and making a difference in their performance and their outcome, because we all have blind spots, and what we reveal, we can heal. And that's where the values come in and they really help us. Leaders creating leaders. One, we have to focus on ourselves, right? Before we can lead someone else, we have to lead ourselves. And then we coach and lead that other human being. And then we coach and lead that other human being to lead other human beings. So we're focused on the ripple effect of not just leading ourselves and the person next to us, but helping them lead themselves and others around them. And then last is get shit done. I mean, it's GSD. It ain't get stuff done. It ain't, get things halfway there. It's get shit done. And, we had some resistance with people and they wanted us to change shit. And we're like, well, you're just not a fit. I mean, if you can't get behind that, then you're going to be miserable here with us. So maybe you need to go find somewhere that you're going to, that people that are value, we get things done half the time. Then maybe you need to go hang out with those people to where you're happier, but you're not going to be happy here. So you have to understand how important the values are, how they work together, and how it drives our behavior. The reason that you hire to your values, because it's all about creating culture. And a culture is just a collection of your people. And if you've got people that don't align to your values, then that's what your culture is going to become, right? So think about this. If you brought people in that thought about, man, we'll get stuff done some of the time, and you had a collection of people that believe that, what would that say about your culture? So that's why it's really, really important. Culture is everything, especially when you get to a certain point to where you have a business that's really growing and operating and making an impact, is that culture is number one. As leaders, you have to fight and protect your culture at all costs. And it starts with your people and it starts with your core values. The second component of vision is purpose. So why does your company even exist? And then the even crazier question is, why should anyone care, right? What's the impact that your company is having in the marketplace, in the community? What challenge, problem are you solving, right? What is that purpose? Why are you getting after it every single day in alignment of who you are at your core? What impact are you trying to create? And then the third and final component of vision is that goal. What's the goal? What's that big, hairy, audacious goal that you have for your organization? See, if you have an opportunity to jump on and pick Kinder's brain, pick Mikey's brain, pick my brain, pick Albie's brain, pick anybody in this organization, the very first question that you're probably going to get is, what's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And what I challenge all of you is, what is that big, hairy, audacious goal? Like, so big it kind of scares you. But here's the problem, is that most of you listening to this can only think through the filter of your current financial situation. That's it. And so you have to give yourself permission to remove that filter that you're seeing the world through, which is your current financial situation. So let's play a game of imagine this. Imagine that you had $10 million liquid in your bank account after taxes sitting there. What would you do? What would be your big, hairy, audacious goal then? That's where you have to be thinking. You have to remove the financial filter out of the way. If not, you won't play big enough. You won't think big enough. You won't challenge yourself enough. You won't set a big enough goal. You just won't. So you have to give yourself permission to remove that. And the cool thing is, right, it's like, it's so big, people are they're going to be like, how in the hell are you going to do that? Right. But you set it so far out that they're like, we'll figure it out. we got 10 years. We got 15 years. We got 5 years. We got 7 years, whatever it is for you. I had the opportunity to start working with Jack and Michael Perry, the Perry Group out of Utah. And, Jack's 62. And before we started working together, before really kind of coming into the EXP opportunity, Jack thought, man, I'm going to be the 82-year-old realtor still showing property. Laughing about it. it was a joke, right? But there was some realness behind it because there wasn't a true exit strategy. And Jack coming over to EXP, he now saw that there is a real exit strategy. And so he's like, I'm going to do this in 5 years, right? And I'm like, no, we're going to do it in 3. So your BHAG can be kind of whatever time frame you want to give it, but just make sure you have that big, hairy, audacious goal, because remember, it's a decision-making filter. So if I come to you and say, hey, I've got this idea, and I may be able to persuade you, but if you don't have a filter to balance against, you may say yes and come to find out that it's moving you away from the top of this mountain instead of moving you towards it. Decision-making filter. Your vision is your decision-making filter. Okay. Next is model, right? So we have to understand, right things, right order. The only thing that supersedes strategy is model. What is your business model? Had an opportunity to chat with two absolute rock stars, two of my favorite clients, Matt Durbin and DJ Fairley, out of Pittsburgh, and we were kind of talking through this right here, right? And it's like, one thing that I want you guys to understand is that you can't be so rigid to your business model. It evolves and changes as you evolve and change based upon the season of your business, the season of your life, in pursuit of the vision, right? Right things, right order, but they all work together. So we have this vision, and it's like, okay, how do I structure my business model that's going to allow us to be in pursuit of the vision, given where we are at today? So let's unpack what is business model. So a business model is, just keep it this simple. Okay. It's how you create, deliver, and capture value. What is your value proposition? How are you creating value? How are you delivering it to your consumer? How is it captured? And so, in the beginning, as an agent, as we move from agent to empire builder, the agent has to focus on buyers and sellers, right? So what's the value that you offer becoming an expert advisor to offer to buyers and sellers in your marketplace, right? That's your value. And then, you add team members, then you get to a point you're adding agents, you're attracting other agents outside of your business. Your value proposition changes, right? You still have value to buyers and sellers, but what happens when you start building a team and you checkers to chess, right? You're focused more so on leadership. The value proposition is a little bit different, right? So now what's your value proposition to that consumer, which is the agent or the team member? How are you creating it? How are you delivering it? How are you capturing that value? And so it's always evolving. The business model is always evolving as you're evolving in pursuit of the vision. And these are just like the core foundational blocks that we have to be aware of within business model design, and business model creation. So remember, it's a creative world. You get to create and design it however you want to create and design it, because everybody's vision is different. So how are you structuring your model to get you to where it is that we're trying to get to? So who are your customers, right? What's the value proposition to those customers? What's the channel that we're getting our message out in? Social media, websites, direct mail, radio, whatever. What are all the channels? How are you managing customer? I like client, right? Hopefully you guys all understand the difference between customer and client. Customer is what you are to Walmart. Client is somebody that is truly under your care and guidance. And so I like client relationships. So how are you managing those relationships? What are all of our revenue streams? What are our key resources? What are the key activities that we have to do on a yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily basis? What are our key alignments? Who are our key partnerships in this model? And then, what's the budget? What's the cost structure, right? What is that budget within the model for the model to operate, right? And provide the cash, which is oxygen, to make the momentum and make the model work, to make the model move. So model is so important. And then we get into strategy, right? And so scratch through strategy, put plan, because most of the time when I talk strategy with most agents, with most people, I get the deer in the headlight looks. It goes right over their head. Strategy is just your plan. What's the damn plan? We have clarity of our goal. We have a model that's going to allow us to produce cash, our oxygen, to fuel the growth. But what's the plan within the model in pursuit of the vision? Right things, right order. And so think about the plan. And when you have to look at it, it's like, okay, well, do I have a good plan or do I have a bad plan? Well, a good plan is super simple. Okay. It really identifies the challenge that we have to overcome. What are the actions that we have to take? So we have a straight line strategic plan that we, at this time, we used it for our agents on our team. We use the one-page strategic plan from Vern Harnish. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we use the VTO from EOS with Traction and Gino Wickman. And so I like the VTO. So what I have my clients do in our teams, we utilize the VTO, Vision Traction Organizer. And so that's your plan. But when you look at it, how do I know if it's good or if it's bad? Well, it's good is that we know where the constraint is. We know our challenge. And then we have our 90-day rocks, our priorities over the next 90 days, which are our actions that we're going to take to overcome the challenge that we have. And so bad strategy just really, it doesn't even talk about the challenge. It's like it blazed right over. It's not even looking at what is the real constraint? What is the real challenge that we have? And another thing that we have to be careful of is that bad strategy may talk about goals. It may talk about our ambition. It may really focus on the vision and effort. They're important, but they're not strategy, right? What is the plan to overcome the biggest constraint, obstacle, choke point, challenge we have? And what are the action items that we have to commit to over the next 90 days in pursuit of overcoming that challenge that moves us to the next challenge, right? When you understand theory of constraints, it's like a water hose, and think about it, you always have a kink in your water hose, and your job is to undo that kink, but knowing that there's going to be another kink, and then you got to remove that kink, knowing there's going to be another kink. That's theory of constraints. There's always a constraint in whatever it is we're doing. So, like I'm giving you guys right things, right order. These 4 things, I promise you have a constraint in one of those 4. Your job is to find that constraint, reveal what we can heal, what we have to do with our plan to overcome that constraint that's going to allow the process to flow, ultimately moving us closer to our vision. And last is people. I can buy in that you can move this to the front of the list. I like to look at it in this regard. We have a vision. We have a good model that's going to produce the oxygen that we need, that's going to allow us to continue to grow in pursuit of the vision. We've got a good plan. Now, do we have the people to support the plan? That's the way I want you guys to look at it in this sequence, in this combination. We got the plan. Do we have the people to execute on the plan? And so think about it in that regard. As you guys are growing, okay, your job as head of company, head of your company, if you're number 1, number 2 in command, your job to challenge head of company, whoever's in command, to make sure that they understand their number 1 metric. And their number 1 metric is the percentage of key seats on the bus filled with the right people for those seats. at that time in that stage of your business. Okay. As your business grows, you're going to outgrow people. And usually, who will get you to, most of us can get to 300K in revenue on our own, maybe not. But if you've got somebody that's going to get you to 300K, they might be able to get you to $1 million. But I can promise you, who got you to $1 million won't get you to 3 million. And then for a lot of you freaking honey badger rock stars out there that are making runs, from that next jump from 3 to 10 million, and I'm talking revenue, not volume, is that who got you to 3 won't get you to 10, because we get to a point to where we outgrow our people. And that's okay. So you have to understand, okay, where am I at? Do I have the bus? Do I have the right people in the seat, given the right time, the right stage, the right compensation structure available, salary cap to pay that person in that role? And in a good rule of thumb, we call them A players. An A player can get the job done 90% of the time in that given pay range for that stage that we're in. That's a good indicator right there. Okay. Are they getting the job done? Are you clear on what the job, the requirement, the agreement of success for that function or not? So that's just some things to kind of take a good look at. I want to emphasize this, is that it's not just about the team for your business, right? We also have a plan for our life. And what you have to make sure of is that you're building your life team. Okay. Do you have the people around you, your life team, that is not only executing on the plan for your business, but also the plan on your life? So it's not just, hey, I need these functions covered. I need my sales function. I need my marketing function. I need my operation function. I need my finance function. I need, IT function. I need X, Y, and Z function. But it's also like, do I have, the support, the infrastructure, the people to help support around the house, to help to support around the financial side of things, to help to support around my family, to help support around my fitness. So I challenge all of you guys, just, you got to expand the team, your concept, your mind of just my business. But do I have the team to support my life that's moving me closer to the vision and ultimately moving? Here's the truth. You know what the ultimate goal is? And this, don't confuse this. The ultimate goal is freedom. Everybody on this call, everybody listening to this, your ultimate goal is freedom. Everybody's definition of freedom is different, but are you moving closer to freedom or are you moving further away? That's your filter. That's your decision-making filter. And do you have the team around you? Do you have the who's around you that's helping you move closer to that? So here's the bribe. And this is the same bribe I threw out at Build. If you guys find value in whatever the hell I do and whatever we do, value add back to you guys, and you find value in these, understanding the sequence of these 4 and how important it is, man. So the shameless bribe is, man, if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel at John Kitchens Coach, please go subscribe there. Here's the bribe. My 10-year-old son, he was 9 at the time, set up my YouTube channel. I am not kidding you. He set up the whole YouTube channel, set it all up beginning of this year, maybe Q1 of this year. He set it all up. And, obviously, the team has kind of overtaken it since then. But my man is smart. So he negotiated a deal with me to where every 100 subscribers we get, that he gets a little bonus. And he hit me for 100 for every 100. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So, it is what it is. I made an agreement with him. I ain't going to break it, but I do want to give him the shameless plug. Man, if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. You would make his day. I would love more than anything, pick him up from school and say, hey, bro, we broke another 100 again. So if you guys found value in this, that's the thank you. As Andy Frisella says, we have a tax on what we do. And That's the tax for today. If you find value in this session, man, go subscribe to YouTube and hit the little button when we go live. So I just want to wrap with this, and then we'll open it up for any Q&A. So I really have come to the belief that we have to do hard things for a lot of different reasons. Let me back up. There's a shit ton of absolute rock stars in this group. You look at EXP as a whole, you've got some of the best agents on the planet, soon to be on the planet, that are at EXP or coming to EXP. And, we have the belief they're all coming. It's just a matter of time. The challenge that I've had the opportunity to see with badasses and rock stars is that sometimes we tend to get high on our own supply and our own belief that we can figure shit out. And we can. We absolutely can. I believe every human being has the ability to figure it out. But sometimes we need a little guidance. We need a little help. And, for me, like I said, I believe that as human beings, we have to do hard shit. And the reason is that the further up the perceived ladder of success, ego may start to take a bigger seat, a bigger role. I can promise you go get after it and try to get you 100 miles on foot, you're going to figure out what humility really is. And I honestly believe that we've got to do things to keep ourselves humble, and maintain humility, because that's where we grow. We stay hungry, but we maintain a sense of humility, to where arrogance doesn't creep in, but more so we build confidence. That's the difference between confidence and arrogance, right? Confidence, we get results. Arrogance, we just talk. And when you do hard stuff, you maintain humility and you figure out how to get those wins to build confidence. And, for me, I had the opportunity to listen to Jesse Itzler on stage. If you guys have ever get a chance to listen to Jesse, man, do it. Take advantage of it. He's one of the best speakers from stage. And I remember him saying, the worst thing that we can do as human beings is accomplish something challenging and then not immediately reset the next goal. And so I see it. I see it in a lot of people that I have the opportunity to coach. I see it a lot with those that I'm really close with that have accomplished success beyond their belief, their old belief, and they coast. They don't have that challenge within to push themselves to keep doing harder things, bigger things. And I remember turning 40, and I never ran a marathon before, and so we chose to, hey, that's what we're going to do. And the reason is that, I lost my mom when she was 2 months from turning 40. She was 39 years old, 10 months. And, I was turning 40, so it was kind of on my mind. And I said, I'm going to do something, hard for me, and that's going to run a marathon. And of course, I can't just go run a local marathon. Of course, I had to choose, something tough. And so I'm slow as a turtle, so there's no way I'm going to get into Boston. But I was able to get into New York and run New York City. It's one of my favorite places to run. Just the energy in the city is just it's just magical. And so I'm like, man, I want to run New York. And so we did that, and we really go down that path. We had a great experience, accomplished it. But what I found out, through that process is that, in the beginning it was like, hey, I'm doing this, for my mom. But what I came to realize is that it ended up being more so about my dad, because, you gotta remember, and I think this is where we need to give more focus and more recognition, is that you look at, what you intentionally start out. Yeah. Sucks. Yeah. I was 11 years old, lost my mom to cancer, and kind of going through that process. And, my dad's 30 years older than me. So he was turning 70 at the time. And, he had just lost his second wife to cancer. And I'm like, how in the, like, ain't nothing hard, when you look at, I can't imagine what he had to go through. Right. And so I had lost that connection of being a child growing up in a coach's home, and, my dad, my hero. And I lost that connection for a little while, and going back through this process and really challenging myself, it was like, man, he is my hero. And the impact of lives he's been able to accomplish, but how stoic he stayed through not only losing and burying his best friend once, but doing it again. And so that whole process really came about him. And, sitting there after that experience, sitting there listening to Jesse, and I'm like, I hadn't reset a big goal. I hadn't reset to do nothing tough. And I was coasting on my fitness. And so that's where, Ironman came in and started going down that path. But this is my point, coming back to all of you badasses listening into this, is that, oh, I can figure that out on my own. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, I need that training program. I'll do that. And I got about 2 months from that event, and I was lost. Like, what's a transition? Like, how do I get my bike there? How do I do this? What's my new, I was lost. So I had to take a hard look in the mirror, and I'm like, you dingleberry, what the hell are you thinking, man? You're a freaking coach. Like, get a coach. And so, it's just one of those reminders, right? And I believe it. We all need coaches. We need coaches in every equity of our lives. I said, build the life team. You better get coaches in all of those different dynamics. And so for me, hired a coach. Shoot, I'm on the second coach. We're looking for some other additional help from coach. But I know the power of having a coach when you're lost, that they can get you across any finish line that you're after. So 3 Ironmans deep, and we've got another one. I think we're gonna attack in April. And then we're still pursuing that 100-mile, elusive 100-mile for me. We've gone 80, we've gone 62 a couple times, but we're going to make it happen. And I believe I know in my heart with certainty it's going to happen, because I've got a great plan, and I've got great people in support, and I've got a great coach that's going to keep pushing me and holding me accountable and getting me across that finish line. So hopefully you guys found that useful for you. And so I'd love to open it up. I know you guys have some questions, maybe not. At least now we have a asset, a resource to go back through that presentation. The cool thing in Dallas, that presentation was only 20 minutes, right? We only had 20 minutes. So I couldn't unpack as much as I was able to unpack on this session. So hopefully you guys got a little more clarity from that. And man, it is it's just come back, right? If you're not getting the results, maybe you don't have the right people. Maybe if you've got the right people, we don't have the right plan. Maybe we're operating in a model that's not supporting us in a way that it should, that's in pursuit of the vision. And maybe we're not clear on the vision. Maybe we need to spend a little more time getting clear on what it is that we're trying to say, that we're trying to get to. What's that destination that we're in pursuit of? So cool. Yeah. VTO is powerful. Vision Traction Organizer. I would recommend getting Gino's book Traction, but you can go to Entrepreneurial Organizational System, EOS. Just Google EOS, Gino Wickman, and you'll have access to all the resources, to everything there. It's the blueprint to build that framework to operate within. And there's eight steps in traction. Step number 1's people, right? You got to identify your current people. And then number 2 is what the rocks. And then you get into the strategy with the VTO. But it's powerful. It's a real powerful tool. I know for us, we feel lost. if we've gone too long without going through a strategy session and getting clear on the VTO. And we talk about all those 4 components that I shared with you guys today. We touch on the vision every 90 days. We talk about the current model. We evaluate and reset the plan, and then we really hone in on the people, right? Do we have the right people? What do we need? And you're like, well, where does marketing fall in? Well, marketing is a part of strategy. It's part of the plan. So that's where your marketing component and your branding component, it falls within the plan. So you're like, well, it's missing something. It ain't missing nothing. I mean, you're just looking for excuses why it won't work instead of figuring out and committing to how it's going to work for you. And like I said, a lot of you aren't thinking big enough. You're not challenging yourself. And therefore, hopefully none of you guys listening in are accepting your current situation, because I promise you it could always be better. Always can be bigger as well. Well, cool. Well, like I said, appreciate you guys. If you have any additional follow-up questions, hit it up. Shameless bribe. Go over to YouTube, hit subscribe. Tons and tons of resources and value add, all 158 and above, 59 episodes are there. Coffee and coaching episode. We're over a year in on that, those conversations, and then definitely capturing, mine and Jay and Al's conversations are over there, plus a lot of other stuff. So go hit it up. I know it's a tremendous value resource, and actually proud of it. So hit it up, and we'll catch you guys next time. We'll see you. Thanks, guys.